feel you. Don't want you on my mind. Don't want to feel you. Don't want you on my mind. Why not?
Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Nikki here. So today I have an in-depth video slash tutorial on how I cover my dark circles. It's been a hot minute since I've done something like this. I know I cover it in every single makeup tutorial I will conceal, but I've never done an in-depth tutorial as to why I use the colors, how I use them, situations like that. So I thought I would just go ahead and do that. It's probably my most asked question that I get on YouTube and Instagram is how do I cover my dark circles? What concealers do I use? How do I get rid of the lines underneath my eyes and stop it from creasing? All of that jazz. So if you guys want to see how I cover my dark circles and how I get a flawless finish, then just keep on watching. I actually have really fine lines underneath my eyes. This is probably to do with dehydration, not drinking enough water. It's just not really smooth. Some people are a little bit luckier in life and it's really flawless and smooth. I just tend to have loads of different lines. I tend to have a lot of lines underneath my eyes. So what I have actually been using is, I do use the Origins Ginseng. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I don't use it every day, but when I remember to use it in my nighttime routine, I will use this. I just take a little bit on my fingers and then just pop this underneath my eyes before bed, and I do find that it does help smooth my under eyes, and it just kind of refreshes my eyes and wakes them up as well. Okay, so quick disclaimer, I don't know what it is about today, but I'm just having a bad day. You know when you just, I don't know, like everything's shit, don't actually have a reason, just having a bad day, and I wanted to sit down and film for you guys because it's one thing that actually really makes me feel better. So that's why I'm here. But if my tone kind of changes or I don't see myself, then that is why, just to let you guys know. You know when like everything's like, oh, I don't feel nice, I don't look nice. One of them days. So this is me completely bare. I've zoomed you guys in so you can see the severity of the darkness. I've got the darkness not only underneath my eyes, but it also carries on top of my eyelids, which I kind of like because sometimes it just looks like a smoky eye. But I actually start off with doing my face and doing my foundation before I even do my concealer. A lot of people do their concealer first. I just don't. It doesn't work like that for me. So I am going to go ahead and I'm just going to moisturize my skin because it's feeling quite tight, a little bit taut. And I'm going to be using the Nivea Soft, Professionally Soft Moisturizing Cream. I'm going to pop that on my face, my neck and my chest area. Next, what I do find helps with my under eye lineage is actually the MAC Fast Response Eye Cream. I'm going to pop on a little bit of this just with my ring fingers underneath both eyes. It helps like hydrate them, but it also does just minimize lineage a little bit. So you're not going to have so many lines showing up when you pop your concealer on. Next, I want to add just a little bit of glow to my skin because I like that kind of plump, healthy, fresh looking satin skin. It's just something that I like. I don't really like the matte skin. I feel like it looks a lot more dull, even though anything that I put on my skin absorbs and looks pretty matte. But I like to just fake more of a glow from within. So what I'm going to be using is the Melanie Mills Time Sondra Deluxe Gleam Body Radiance in Peach Deluxe. I'm going to take a little bit of this. You guys have seen me use it so many times before, but I love it so much. I'm going to just take a little bit and then just pop this on my face, my neck and my chest area. Okay, so sometimes I do feel bad, like when I have a day like this, I tend not to film. The reason being is because like I feel like a lot of you guys will watch YouTube as a route of escapism for yourself. You want to see something that's fun, something that's maybe like upbeat, not all the time I suppose, but you know, like when I'm having a down day, I'm just thinking no one's gonna want to watch me like, not sulk, but like just be in a bad mood. Do you know what I mean? But I thought, do you know what? I want to film, it's going to make me feel better. So this video is like more so for me than it is for you guys. I hate saying that, but I guess it's like an outlet for myself. And if any of you guys are having a bad day, then I just want to let you guys know that tomorrow is a fresh day. That's how I see it. Like if I'm having a bad day, I know that I'm going to wake up tomorrow, I'm just having a bad day and it's going to be okay tomorrow. Just want to put that out there. Now for primer, because I want something quite lightweight, I want it to be fresh. I want this all just to be about skin, because Skin Focus is my favourite, but because we're concentrating on just under eyes, I'm actually going to be using the Farsali Unicorn Essence. I haven't picked this up in a while. Love it. It's nearly running out, so I need to grab another one. Love it so much. It just primes the skin, smooths over the skin. So I'm going to take a couple of drops of this and then just massage that onto my face and my neck and chest area. Just to let you guys know that because I am running out of that Farsali, I have mixed a little bit of my MAC essential oils into that. because I am Indian and we're trying to preserve it for as long as we can because I love it so much. That's why my skin's looking a bit shiny and dewy, but it feels really nice and fresh now. Okay, so I'm going to go straight into foundation because I believe that when we're doing dark circles, right, you've got darkness underneath your eyes, but there's no point in doing the concealer because we're going to go back on top with foundation and it will remove the concealer. So my theory is if we do foundation, then you're already going to be covering a little bit of the darkness. You're obviously not going to take it all the way up to your eyes, but you're going to be covering a little bit more with the foundation already, so it minimizes how much concealer you use. That's the theory in my head anyway. So for foundation, I'm actually going to use two that I haven't picked up in a while. I'm going to be using the NYX Total Control Drops in Caramel, and then the Ordinary Serum Foundation in the shade 2.1Y. These are like serum foundations, they're very watery, and I just want something very, very lightweight on my skin. I've not been feeling heavy coverage at all recently, so that's why I picked these two bad boys up. Mixing them together, I'm just going to use a damp beauty blender to blend and bounce this all over the skin, the neck and the chest area to give us a really nice base coat. Okay, so I hope you guys can see that with the foundation, it has covered a little bit of the darkness underneath my eyes. Now, one thing that is a pet peeve of mine, oh my gosh, and something that I just really dislike is grayness underneath the eyes. Grayness would occur when you've got a concealer that is way too light for you, and you're using it on top of darkness to try and highlight and correct, and it's just not working out for you. Or you're using like the wrong tone of concealer, that's when it would happen. You can see right now that my eyelids are looking a bit grey because I put on a bit of foundation and I've got the darkness peeking through, therefore they're looking grey, they're not covered. So I'm going to help you guys get through this. I have been victim to the grey under eyes, the ashy skin I've been victim to, and I don't want you guys to go through it. So I'm going to help you guys correct these bad boys. Now, you guys have seen me correct my under eyes a trillion times using the Pro Longwear, and that is what I'm going to be using today. But I've never done like an in-depth kind of tutorial as to why I use the colours I do and how I use them. I'm just going to quickly put out some concealers that I really do like. I am loving the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. This is from the drugstore and it is £4, which is incredible. The Maybelline Fits Me Concealer is also a really good concealer. It's got really good coverage. Also like the NYX HD Photogenic Concealer, and I love the Kat Von D Concealer. The reason why I'm not using any of these ones today is because you guys know that I love the MAC Pro Longwear, and it's probably the only concealer that I've found that really does not crease at all, and I have all faith in. So I'm going to be using these and going through why I use them and how I use them. Okay, so I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to be really real with you guys. I don't think you need orange corrector. I don't think you do unless you have severe dark circles and you're pairing that with a very fair skin. Do you really need orange corrector? Probably not, if I'm honest with you. There are other ways around it. I also feel like when you use an orange or salmon color corrector, depending on your skin tone, you're going to be using a lot of product on top. Depending on how much you use and how pigmented that color is, you're going to be using a lot of product on top to kind of make that orange disappear, if that sort of makes sense. I feel like with Asian skin tones, orange corrector can help, but you need to use very little of it, and I tend to not use it on myself or any of my clients because there are other ways around it. What I like to do is I used to use the Pro Longwear in NW35. NW from the MAC shade range has got more of a pink salmon undertone, so that will always correct your under eyes. However, I've stopped using that because I always need to put an NC on top of it, which is bringing it back to my yellow skin tone. I hope this is making sense. I know it's a little bit long. I'm just going to tell you guys what I do. What I do is I use a MAC Pro Longwear concealer. I like to use the shade NC45. NC45 is a shade darker than my natural skin tone. And then I like to actually mix it now. My new favorite is to mix it with the NC25. The reason being is because the NC25 is a lot lighter than my skin tone. It's more of a highlight color, but it's got a lot of yellow in it. So I like to get the balance. The NC45 still gives me a little bit of redness, which is going to help correct just a tiny bit because it's a little bit darker, and then mixing it with the NC to bring it back to my natural skin tone. Mixing these together, and because of the coverage of this, it's really just going to counteract, and it's going to counteract that darkness and give you a really nice flawless under eye. So I'm going to take these two bad boys, take a pump of each, just take them on to a fluffy brush. and I'm just going to show you on one eye by popping it on one eye and blending it out with a beauty blender, and then comparing it next to the other eye just to see the coverage. So I'm hoping here you guys are going to be able to see the difference. Obviously this is the one that is concealed. I still feel like the Pretty Long Way still looks very, very natural, but with the full coverage you can see the darkness here and it's completely erased and gone. I've not needed to color correct. I don't use any orange, but the two colors together have counteracted the darkness and given me something that blends right into my skin tone. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to pop this on my under eye. Obviously you don't need to use a brush, you can go straight in with a beauty blender. But sometimes I do, depending on how I'm feeling, I like to just place the concealer underneath. And I like to do it in a downwards triangle, almost. Yeah, and then just buff it out with a damp beauty blender. Okay, so once everything is corrected, you can see that it's all one tone. I like to add a little bit of definition with highlight and contour. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my new favorite, is the Maybelline Anti-Age Eraser Eye, and this is in the shade Light. The reason why I like to use light is because it's got a lot of yellow undertone in it, which is going to help with balancing out my skin tone, but it's also going to help brighten and just lift the under eyes. So I'm just going to twist this and then pop it underneath my eyes. I'm also going to pop it in all the high points of my face just to highlight everywhere, as opposed to if I just do it underneath my eyes, then it's going to look a little bit starkers underneath my eyes, very crazy, and it's not going to balance out on the rest of my face. So I'm going to pop that on the whole of the face, and then I'm going to blend that out using a damp beauty blender as well. Okay, so another tactic of mine is, and I've never actually mentioned it to you guys, is when I use the damp beauty blender, whatever I put the foundation side on with, I will use that same side when I'm blending out the highlight. Kind of defeats the purpose because you are mixing a little bit of the darkness into the light. Technically you would move your beauty blender around, have a clean area, and then blend out your highlight. But I just find that if I use the side that I did like the concealer with and the foundation with, it kind of just blends and melts into my skin, and it's not too stark, but it just still gives my under eyes a lift, if that sort of makes sense. I hope I'm making sense to you guys. I'm not the best at explaining things, but I do find that it doesn't look crazy stark white and like I've got a ton of highlight on my face, and it sort of blends into my skin but just brightens it and lifts it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of this concealer and I'm also going to pop that just on my eyelids because I do suffer from darkness there. I'm not too concerned about it being grey, which it probably will be, because I'm also going to set it with a powder and then I'm going to pop on eyeshadow and things like that. This is just to prime and highlight more so underneath my brow bone. Then I like to just bounce a beauty blender off this just to blend everything in. Now before I actually set anything with powder, I do want to just give myself a contour, and because I like to use either a cream or a liquid contour, I need to do this before I do any powder because I don't want it to congeal. I'm actually going to be using the New Look No Shine Mattifying Foundation. This is in the shade Caramel. For some reason I picked this up thinking it would be my shade. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But when I buy things like this that are too darker, I will just use them as a bronzer. So I'm going to take a little bit of this foundation and just bronze up my skin really quickly and give myself a really nice kind of glow and a tan bronzy look. Okay, so I'm looking a little bit crazy, and I always do when I've got my contour, my bronze, your base, your concealer, you always look a little bit cray-cray because we haven't got our eyes, I haven't even got my eyebrows on yet. What I'm going to say to you guys now is I'm actually going to use a powder. I never use powder, but this is the only powder that I will touch nowadays because it works so amazingly. It is actually the Cover FX Translucent Light Loose Powder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this, just the tiniest amount, on a clean beauty blender, and I'm just going to buff this, bounce it just underneath my eyes before the lines begin, so just underneath the lines because I don't want to put them on the lines. Kind of don't like that, it makes me look a little bit more liney underneath my eyes. So I'm just going to bounce this underneath my eyes and kind of just let the concealer absorb it in, and my under eyes look absolutely flawless when I've got this powder on. Okay, so whilst I let that just sit underneath my eyes before I do any brushing away, I'm just going to take a little bit of powder and I'm just going to set my eyelids as well. This is what I hate about loose powder, like it just, you can't even, like I can't even get rid of it, it's everywhere. So I'm just going to quickly dust off the excess powder on my eyelids. And then very, very, very gently, I'm just going to dust it off my under eyes. Now just taking a little bit of Fix Plus and soak yourself. Okay, so that Fix Plus that just helps erase that powder. I always wondered when people were baking and they've got so much powder underneath their eyes, how do they get rid of that kind of like stark white look even when they've brushed it away? Have to be really gentle because when you're brushing away, you don't want the powder to congeal with the concealer. But I've come to the conclusion that when you use Fix Plus, it brings it back to the look of skin. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to go ahead, do my eyes and my brows and everything off camera. We'll come back and we'll do lips, and I've got one more trick as to what I do just to disguise the lines underneath my eyes. Okay guys, so I am back. I've quickly just popped on some brows. We've done our eyes. I went for this glossy eye. I'm loving this glossy eye trend. I think it's more of a summer trend, but I don't care. I love it. I know it's going to crease, but it looks bomb for now. My last hack is actually your lower lash line. I have left my lower lash line bare at the moment. What I find works for me with the lines that I get underneath my eyes is actually to smoke out a shadow. So whatever your crease color is, here I've got soft brown and I've got a little bit of Red Brick eyeshadow by MAC. I'm going to just take these shadows. I'm actually going to take it on quite a fluffy brush. I feel like a big fluffy brush really works. It's just going to smoke it out quite low down. And this is actually going to cover some of your lines. I find that this works for me all of the time, and this is my trick or my last hack for you guys. So just taking these shadows, I'm going to fluff it out using my Kiss Bobo blending brush. So I actually only smoke out until my last line ends or my last wrinkle ends, because I feel like then your eyes are drawn to underneath that, which is all smooth. I hope that makes sense, and it kind of just looks smoother underneath the eye. I'm quickly just going to pop on a little bit of mascara. This is just the MAC Extended Play Lash. Love this one because it's a narrow wand. I'm just going to apply it to my bottom lashes. Now for lips, I want to kind of match to the coral orange undertones on my eyes. So I'm going to go with Barry M's Matte Me Up Matte Liquid Paint In on the Scene. I'm just going to pop a little bit of this on, give it a quick finger blend. And then to go with glossy eyes, I'm going to be adding a little bit of Dose of Colors over the top gloss just on the center of the lip and blending that bad boy out as well. I feel like I need a little bit of the blush just to finish this look off because it is quite a fresh look. I'm going to go in to MAC's shade in Melba. I'm just going to mix it with a little tiny bit of Spring Sheen and then just pop that to the apples of the cheeks, you guys. Now I don't really wear blush, don't really think it suits me, but I just need a little bit of colour on the cheeks. Just popping that on with a MAC 188 brush. Now I'm just going to spray a little bit of Fix Plus just to kind of refresh the face. And that is it guys for my in-depth tutorial on how I cover dark circles. I hope you guys maybe learned a thing or two. Let me know down below if you did. Let me know if this video was helpful and if you want to see just kind of like in-depth tutorials on specific areas of the face, and then I kind of just do everything off camera. Let me know if you enjoy videos like this. Also, I'm thinking that I might do a glossy lid tutorial because I'm loving this lid. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, which is somewhere down below. Give it a thumbs up if you like this kind of video so I know. And I guess that is it. I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah.
Don't want to feel you, don't want you on my mind, don't want to feel you.